Hey guys, it is me, Jax, John Anthony Chihak Soltero. I am here. It was going to be an unboxing mail call kind of thing. I tried to record it with my phone. The sun was still out. There was a ton of glare coming from the skylight. So that didn't work out super well, and then the phone fell out of the holder. So we're gonna do it again because you're seeing it for the first time, so I guess that's okay. This is the return from CBCS for the verified Rob Liefeld autographs that I found out in the wild a few months back. Sent them off with the last of like my artwork and some of the Akira Bubba Patrol homage covers, and they came back today, and one of the grades came back exactly like I thought it was going to come, and the other two came back higher than I thought. So very happy with those. And then there was the Akira #1, which is going to go in my display. I actually had in my display and then took it down to redo the filming. So the first one I'm going to show you is this Captain America preview edition. The says it's a first issue, but it reads that it's a special Comic-Con edition. It's a silent issue. There's a back pinup. It says back cover pinup, I guess, maybe because it doesn't have an ad on it, I guess. So this is verified signatures, Rob Liefeld and Jonathan Siebel, or Siebel. Not quite sure how to pronounce that. This had a pretty nice kink down here in the corner. It wasn't as noticeable in the front as it is in the back. So you can see it really well right there. Doesn't really break color. It's hard to figure, I mean, from my eyes, if it breaks color too much with the being an all-white cover. Pressed the hell out of this book. Probably anywhere between like 6 and 8 hours in the press, and just couldn't get that out. Even tried moving it into position where just this bottom half of the cover was being pressed, and I wasn't able to get it all the way out. Looks a lot better than it did. It basically looks like somebody dropped it and it hit the corner, but not flush on the corner, like it hit rolled in kind of thing, or like somebody had it underneath a stack of stuff and like pulled it up kind of thing. Still a really cool, a really dope cover, and supposed to be like one of the first appearances of Ricky Barnes, the new Bucky in the what do you call it, Heroes Reborn universe or whatever. So this one's an interesting one, and I was talking to one of my friends about it, Richard, on Dresser's Comics and Cards, or Cards and Comics, here on YouTube. Really knowledgeable about stuff, and I had looked this up on eBay to see, like, well, what are the prices coming back, and like the fact that this is, it's a yellow label, right? And it's a 9.6, and it's Youngblood #1. This is the very first book produced by Image Comics. It's a whole slew of first appearances, of course. But you ask yourself, where is the Rob Liefeld autograph on this? Well, for some reason, I'm not sure why, maybe it was the preference of the person, they decided to get it on the flip cover. Now, so they actually did the flip cover, not just a reverse cover. And I thought they would put this one facing forward, but technically this is the front cover, and this is the flip to the back cover. So it's going to be interesting on displaying this, because when you put it out here, people will be like, oh, is it the signature inside? No, it's on the back cover. But that might actually be interesting to like display that way, or even just display that way, and somebody, it just makes kind of an interesting conversation piece. But a 9.6, this is a book. These 3 books I found in the wild at a comic book shop here in town. They were all pretty low price anyways, but then he was having a sale, so they were half that. So I don't have a lot of money invested in the books themselves. The grading is a different story, but when you verify grades or verify signatures, you're paying more for them because the witnessing fee is different than the verification fee. But still, kind of cool because this is a piece of history. Kind of an iconic cover as well. But that wasn't like the big one. This was the big one, and it's Youngblood number 0. This puppy came back a 9.8, found in the wild. And somebody might say, well, they printed like 1 million and like 2 million of these or whatever. How could it not come back a 9.8? Well, it's 32 years old is one thing, and another thing is it's been in somebody's collection. It got handled. It obviously got handled not just to get signed by Rob Liefeld, but to get signed by Dan Fraga as well. So it's interesting that something that's 32 years old was handled by at least 3 people, 4 because this is a direct edition, I believe. Direct edition because it doesn't have the barcode. That you would have had, the people boxing it and binding it and then putting it in the, the boxes, gets shipped, person at the shop puts it up on the wall, person buys it, takes it to a con, has both of these people sign it. That's at least 4 people touching the book. And for it to come back almost perfect is pretty amazing. And, nice placement of the Liefeld signature. I've been paying attention to that more and more with respect to autographs on books because, sometimes somebody they just sign across it. A lot of times now, when I went to Phoenix and I had Wolfman and DiCarlo sign my new Teen Titans, Tales of the Teen Titans 44, I had them sign on the Tales of the Teen Titans like title head so that the image wasn't obscured, and it was really good placement for those signatures. So I can appreciate when somebody signs in a good spot so that the cover still has a lot of value to it. Stan Lee was very famous. Like if this was a Stan Lee book, he probably would have signed across Shaft's face or across Chapel, or I don't know who this guy is. That being said, I'm not a Liefeld fan. I acknowledge what he's done historically. I acknowledge his accomplishments and his contributions to comics. I'm just not a fan. When I was younger, I definitely but I was also into McFarlane and Jim Lee and stuff like that. So I wasn't, he wasn't my guy. He still isn't my guy. He's accomplished a lot in this industry, whether I like him, whether I don't like him, whether I like his artwork, whether I don't like his artwork. It's not for me. It's not my favorite by any stretch of the imagination. But at the same time, there's history with that. So I think it's really, really important to, I guess unless somebody has done something really horrible, you still should acknowledge whatever they've contributed, right? Kind of had a conversation about that with a coworker of mine, they don't believe in canceling people, and to an extent I don't believe in canceling somebody. I don't think you really can, but I think if there's somebody whose values and ideals you don't agree with, or a business whose values and ideals you don't agree with, you're under no obligation to give them your money or give them your attention or anything. Things should align with who you are as a human being and a person, right? So Liefeld's never wronged me on a personal level. The whole thing, somebody can be like, well, he created Deadpool. And I'm like, yeah, okay. There was a writer on that book as well, and it's subjective. If you're a fan, you're gonna praise him. If you're not a fan, you're gonna loathe him and you're gonna point out every flaw and fault. I'm kind of in the middle somewhere. Like, I used to be really anti-Liefeld, and I'd laugh at him and make fun of him and stuff like that. But now I'm just like, you know what? He did something. He accomplished something. And I think that's one of those things where I'm going to do a video where I talk about knockoff books and knockoff characters. And what I mean by that is characters that are basically stolen, like IPs that don't belong to the people who are putting them out. Some of them are now in public domain, but they weren't in public domain when these books started. And the questions and the authenticity and the fortitude that some of these creators have or don't have in creating those books. So, you know, it's one of those things. Like, I don't have to like somebody to understand or respect what they may have contributed to something. But, you know, that is part of the deal. That is part of life. The last book in this mail call, yeah, you're right there, buddy. I know you're right there. That's Mr. Grayson. Is something that is really going to complete a display that I have. Like I said, big fan of this manga, big fan of this anime. Both are in my top 5 for favorite comic books and favorite movies of all time, and nothing about that is going to change anytime soon. Some big stuff would have to come along in order for this story to get knocked out of that top 5. And that's my Akira number 1. Yeah, I might be a little upset if, you know, it's a 9.4. There's a little bit of dinging on the back. There's down at the bottom corners on the spine side, there's a couple little dings. There's some color rub on it. Honestly, this is a PC book. This ain't going anywhere. Like, I'm glad it came back a 9.4. This is a huge book for me. I've had this for about a year and a half. This is a CBCS's like nice, big, thick cases. As you can see, this is a standard comic book. This is a prestige format. I think this is 48 pages. But this is a beautiful book. I'm really happy to have this. Like, I have the Punisher magazine with his origin in it and Maria Castle's first appearance in a similar case, but it's magazine size, of course. But this is, it's not a grail book because it's not incredibly hard to find, but it is a first print, and it is something that's super duper important to me. And I love this series so much. I've had the manga for years. I finally read it in 2019, the year this story takes place. I saw Akira in theaters in 2019, the year the movie takes place, the story takes place. So, I mean, even before then, but since then, it has really held a special place in my heart because I'm an animator, I'm a comic book creator, and 2D animation, I love all animation, but 2D animation holds a special place in my heart. That's what I grew up on. That's what some of the biggest masterpieces are. CGI animation, while it can look really great, it has to be done a special way in order for it to not age and age badly. But 2D animation like Akira, when you watch it now, it's just as beautiful as it was in 1988, 89 when it hit the States. So this is a really cool book to have back. I really like the casing, and it's got this like nice frosted edge on the back. You can't really see it. It almost looks like a glaze almost, but it has a little bit of texture on it. I think that's kind of neat. I don't know why they did that, but I like it. So yeah, I'm super happy with this mail call. That 7.5 Captain America, that's not bad because like I knew it wasn't going to be in the 9s. I knew it probably wasn't going to be in the 8s. But I had to get it, you know, I had to press the hell out of it. And it probably got it from like a 6.5, maybe a 7 to a 7.5. And I would have been happy with a 7 or a 7.5. I was hoping for the 7.5, and I got the 7.5. So that's always awesome. I will have some walkthroughs on some of the displays in my home, because I'm waiting on a couple more pieces to come in, a couple more books. But Dressier Richard was telling me, he was just like, I love like walkthroughs when people like show their setups and their displays. So like you can see my Octo in the background, and my Something Is Killing the Children display will be one of those, especially once I get that custom done. Anyways, so if you watch this, thank you. Like, share, subscribe if you want to, no pressure to do so. And if you haven't, check out my Chucky short that I did that has like 8,500 views. It's the laziest thing I could have possibly put together, and it has more views than all of my videos on here combined, which is hilarious. So maybe I just got to start doing stuff that I'm like, I don't care about anymore, right? Get more views. I don't know. But you guys take care. Hope you're doing well. And if this goes up before Father's Day, happy Father's Day to all the dads out there, especially all the dads who are doing the job right, because that's super important, right? I had a tough time middle life with my dad, and but me and my dad have a really good relationship now, and I wouldn't trade those like 5-10 years of roughness for what we have now. I wouldn't trade what we have now to have that time back, because part of that is what made me who I am. And I've got a really good relationship with him now. He's not only my dad, and I can go to him as a son, but he's my friend, and I can talk to him as a friend and a peer. And that's something a few years back I never would have thought I could have done. So happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. Take it easy.